twice, but still holding that out for them. But with the LeBlanc ban away from ZaZee, that does mean the Varus is going to be open towards Crownshot. And now the question is, like, how deep are we going? Is it going to be the full poke comp that we saw G2 run on day one with like a Zoe in the mid lane, where those two champions pair up really nicely? Because if Zoe ever lands the bubble, well, people can stand in front of their allies to block her paddle star, but you can't block that Varus Q.
Yeah, definitely not. There was a Reddit clip actually of the Zoe bubble plus piercing arrow combo from G2 on day one, just obliterating the Mad Lions. They were on the receiving end of that. I wonder if they'll have flashbacks, PTSD from,
sure.
from Friday's game. It's going to be the Azir locked in for Humanoid. And now we get to see what else they want to combo with this. And
I mean, it would usually be an AD carry right here for Mad Lions to go ahead and lock in a Felios open as a decent option, but instead it's going to be the Wukong that Orome ran on day one.
now what... solo laners blind picks early is a bit strange to me.
I mean, it's especially strange because on day one against G2, you know, Wunder just locked in the Mordekaiser, and then Mordekaiser as an AP damage source, solid bruiser, works super well up against the Wukong here, so I don't know if they're willing to put in the jungle for Shadow, but I haven't seen that champion be super successful there.
Okay, so let's see what the reply is from SK Gaming. So it's going to be a little bit of poke from the Corki, not quite full Zoe. And we'll expect that to land in ZaZee's hands. And this is a very different type of drop from what we've been seeing for the last 2 days.
Yeah, so the thing about locking in Corki here as opposed to something like the Zoe is that it's going to give you that consistent DPS towards the later game. So it's a little bit of that insurance saying, hey, we don't actually need to jump out to a huge lead. We don't have to focus like purely on sieging and taking maybe these more difficult fights to execute. Instead, you have a Corki that's going to be able to scale up incredibly well post 2 items and, you know, match this as year towards the late game.
What do you think of the Karma lock-in now? So we've got double ADCs and a Senna for the Mad Lions. This is very different. I remember you and I having a conversation of like the Karma versus the Thresh and how they provide value in different areas. But with the double ADs, a little bit of the zone, a little bit of the shielding, and now a Senna, Wukong on the other side, as well as Azir. What do you make so far?
Well, so what I'm seeing from SK, right, if it's going to be the Varus and the Karma in the bot lane, that's a lot of push, that's a lot of poke. That can be really frustrating to deal with. So I guess what Mad Lions are thinking is, hey, we need some sort of healing down towards the bottom side with the Yuumi, rather, taken away. Senna is then an option. You know, we've heard whispers of like Soraka down in the bottom lane as well, but I don't think it's going to be that in this game. Instead, Senna's going to try to be the option here to get them through a tough laning phase.
Oh, got a lot of damage, a lot of range to deal with. Shadow's not going to have access to his Lee Sin. We'll need to play something else here on the Summer Split. Gangplank removed as well. So very, very different style of a draft, and this is quite exciting. One of the things that I was very happy about on day one, we saw the Kale top coming out from XL, and I love the fact that it was a little bit of a pivot within what we're seeing as the power picks, and Aatrox is definitely a power picks for Jenax that has now been removed. So what do you want to see coming out from Mad Lions? They're going to have first pick, likely a jungler here?
Yeah, I think you probably take a jungler, or actually, if you wanted to reveal your bottom lane, when you already see the Varus on the other side, that's something Mad Lions have done before, where they make sure Shadow can get a counter pick in the jungle position. With the Lee Sin banned away, of course, he's going to be a little bit sad, but you still have things like Trundle to default over towards if you do need a little bit tankier of a front line.
2 seconds left, and ding, ding, ding.
There you go.
Good prediction there. Trundle is now locked in, and I'm not anticipating another AD from Crownshot, so we've got bot lane, we've got that mid lane as well, and probably a jungle pick here as well.
I mean, SK just need engage at this point, right? Because you have 2 ADCs, you need a front line, you need engage. That sort of rounds out your composition to have a very solid team fight overall. Of course, they do see Trundle on the other side, so they're a little sad. He's going to be stealing away their stats here. But we have heard that, you know, running tanks into the Wukong isn't the worst thing in the world.
Okay.
This is very different, though.
Top lane Karma? And Varus bots?
Yeah. It'll be top lane Karma. So bot lane is still going to be very similar in principle, where you have another range support, you can poke, push into tower. Maybe Bard wants to roam a little bit more with his jungler here. But Karma in the top lane, it sort of reads as, hey, we're just looking to actually run you around the map, right? We have the poke. Now you have the mobility of the Karma with the E to get you around. A lot of pushing lanes here for Trick.
And then you've got the conditional engage from the Bard ultimate. Tempered Fate can obviously be a distraction, but with the Sett Karma Bard as your engage options,
Yeah.
it's not the most reliable.
That's where I'm not exactly convinced, is that, you know, Sett, pretty low range character, so he sees some melees on the other side here. And wow,
Whoa.
okay, so we've got a Maokai now, so assuming we have seen Maokai paired with Senna down towards the bottom side, if it is going to be that fasting Senna as an option here, can farm pretty decently from range with that pairing, and
Am I being
combination of the
baited or
Sat
not?
magic and the Senna heal.
Am I being baited now? This is a Wukong support for now. They will have until 20 seconds on the clock. Unfortunately, we don't have the clock on screen right now. I would love to see Wukong support. I have no idea what Varus Bard, Senna Wukong would be, but I feel like it would be so horrible for Wukong.
I mean, Wukong support sounds like madness playing into double-ranged bot laners there. When you assume, like, if it's going to be, you know, the fasting Senna, then he would be the one farming, and all the other, you know, fasting Senna pairings that have been in bot lane have some sort of range to be able to farm, Trevor.
Oh my word, it's actually happening. It's a Wukong support to start day 3. The Mad Lions might just be mad as they're taking on SK Gaming. And welcome back! Okay, Ender, I am excited about this hodgepodge of team composition. I can hear the almost disappointment in your voice, or question mark,
It's
question
more like
marks.
trepidation, Trevor. I'm looking at both sort of sides here, and it's like SK, right? You got an insane backline. You have so much range. Try and keep Mad Lions at arm's distance away from you, and, you know, once you get your items, you're going to be very deadly. You have, you know, side lanes that are going to be very powerful during the laning phase as well. And then I'm like, how badly is Mad Lions bot lane going to get beaten here against Varus Bard? Like, that cannot be fun at all.
It can't be. And remember, it was Crownshot and Limit that got ahead and were the pivotal players in that victory over Origin on day 1. And they've got this advantageous lane setup. There's a bunch of caretaker shrines in that mid lane as well. Really, really cheeky. I love that. Just the ability to support. But what I do like as well is we've talked a lot about these enchanter supports versus sort of engaged supports. Bard is one of those roaming champions that can move around and use that, you know, cosmic binding, try set up some plays if he's unlocked.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, like, with this team composition, I'm like, well, you probably don't really roam towards mid lane. You're not going to do much against the Sett. So while that is an option for him, if, like, Trick wanted to walk in towards Mad Lions bot side jungle, I think Limit is going to be more focused on just winning the laning phase. And with him starting W, though, that says, well, I can't actually look for the stun and look for the over trades right off the bat here.
Luckily, he's not going to be under any real pressure for a while here. As Crownshot at Limit, they're going to get a small advantage here on the push. I think now Mad Lions race to 2. Going to be not the most exciting, but Kaiser already struggling to deal with the ranged harass.
Yeah, so the really nice thing about having Senna here next to the Wukong, especially at level 1, is Wukong, or Kaiser here, rather, got to walk up to the minions pretty freely to auto-attack, didn't take too much harass, because Carzzy is purely focused on going for the harass here with the Senna and trying to pick up some souls. Now, this is a little bit of a newer flavor for Senna if you haven't been following League of Legends since the LEC sort of ended last split, where you're not actually running the Glacial Augment. It's going to be Grasp the Undying Senna. We saw this first, I believe, over at the Mid-Season Cup between the LPL and the LCK, where you go for stuff like the Frozen Mallet and you turn into this insanely tanky Senna, while Trick looks for a gank in the mid.
He's going to flash engage for this one. We'll get the flash out of Humanoid, drop him down to 200. So trading jungler's flash for mid. Definitely a worthwhile call. Trick has also got that Hex flash on lockdown, and now Shadow's going to show his face in the mid lane. ZaZee still sitting with the flash, still got W available. And Mad Lions just going to sit tight for now. Okay, we've looked at the bottom lane a lot. I think we will go back to that in a moment. Let's quickly touch on the Karma versus Maokai, as it is, again, a slightly different look from what we've seen for the last 2 days. Surely Orome is going to be fine later, but just, you know, going to be shoved in a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to take harass for the time being. Good thing is Maokai naturally good resistances to magic damage, and of course also has the sap magic to try and sustain himself. And because the way the jungle pathing worked out early on, well, look at this, back in mid lane again.
Cosmic binding against the wall, not going to happen. Tried to use their magical journey, didn't work out.
But here's the sort of strange thing is, right, now Shadow has an opportunity to go up top side because they just saw Trick around mid.
All right, Jenax has got that flash, does throw it down. so Shadow's going to be able to secure it. A lot of flashes secured in the early games.
Yeah, and this was sort of what I was concerned about and didn't have time to convey here is because Jenax is naturally pushing here on the Karma as he trades. You know, if he ever auto attacks, all of a sudden enemy minions are going to start hitting him as opposed to his own minion wave. So even if he's not trying to like spend all his abilities on the wave, it's just going to push in towards Orome more often than not. With Trick showing down bot side and this wave pushing top, well, Jenax gets punished and his ward was in Tribrush that Shadow was able to walk around.
And now, of course, if he continues to push, being flashless just makes him a really juicy target.
Yeah, I mean, Trundle Pillar plus Maokai is just instant death.
Yeah, that ward will get spotted and cleared out. Shadow sitting in the Tribrush, going to start to back away. Both mid laners, by the way, have already backed, picked up their first shops and TP'd back into lane. And while all this is going on, Crownshot and Limit are just having a field day shoving. I think I want to give some kudos here to Carzzy and Kaiser, still sitting relatively even on CS with the number of minions under the tower.
Yeah.
I actually kind of expected them to be a little lower. So, you know, pretty impressive for the opening few levels.
I mean, I think they're doing fine in this bottom lane. I also think part of that has to be like Limit just piecing out from the bot lane to look for a gank around the mid lane. That was a little ambitious because when that play was all developing, I was saying, well, SK can actually try to stack this wave with the Sett. You can sort of maybe look to even dive underneath this tower because it's just a heal in terms of a defensive summoner option because Kaiser, of course, is going to be running the teleport here on the Wukong, but instead Trick was very focused at looking around this middle lane.
Now, what do you make of Executioner's calling already for Crownshot? We'll get to that in a moment as Trick is going to Hex Flash over. Humanoid's kept the range and even throws up the cheeky well played.
Like, get out of my lane, dude.
Exactly.
Like, I'm over this.
Remember,
it's the third time around.
The way you counter Sett is to just walk away, and Humanoid was able to prove that.
Yeah, and now the Sett is harder counter. I don't think mid lane's gankable anymore because Humanoid has ultimate, and Sett can just sort of run at you and you can knock him away.
Cosmic Binding, not going to find the stun just yet. Will be a reply route onto Limit. He's trying to set something up, but hasn't quite found the opportunity, and Shadow will pick up the scuttle, come down, clear out this vision. There's a potential 3v3 here. The root will be connected through the minion, but opportunistic it feels like right now.
Yeah, I mean, I actually love how Carzzy is playing inside of this laning phase. Even when Crownshot and Limit are walking up, he's just trading directly into them, and Limit continues to miss these Cosmic Bindings, so it's allowing Carzzy to do all right for himself. Now, one thing to, of note, rather, with the Wukong, or with the Varus in the bottom lane, is that he has the anti-heal built into his E, right? So in these trades, if he's dropping that one down, it's a little bit harder for Senna to get her job done.
Yeah, and of course the Executioner's calling is well picked in there. By the way, Limit trying to interrupt Carzzy will take a lot of damage for his trouble. ZaZee was just moving from the mid lane, but will arrive a little late as the Mad Lions were notified of his presence. Wukong, for the time being, just going to clear out this wave. We'll take a sidestep away from that piercing arrow. But like again, I want you to chime in here. What do you make? You know, because
I mean, he's got the Executioner's calling, so it's just even more now too.
Do you like it though?
I mean, I actually think it's fine as a first item here when you see, you know, Senna, Trundle is going to be sustaining so much through his ultimate and sometimes W as well, Maokai in team fights. I think you itemize for it early and that's going to be just fine here.
Okay, project forward a few minutes for me. We've got a pretty even start. CS has just been traded across the board. Fair amount of ganks from Shadow and Trick, not resulting in kills yet. But how do you anticipate the game to be broken open?
It's a really weird one because while SK and Trick primarily has been making the majority of the plays, their comp isn't the best at forcing. Now you say, oh, they have Bard ult, they have Varus ult, like they do have some tools, but it's actually how SK want to play this because they have so many ranged champions is unless they're going for a pick, within a fight they want to take things super, super slow and try to use those CCs to keep all the melee Mad Lions players sort of away from them, where SK can deal the damage without being jumped on because Wukong level 6, Maokai on a team P flank when you're dealing with a Trundle pillar as well. Mad Lions have a lot of tools to jump on SK, and if they get there, SK are in a lot of trouble.
Gotta keep them away. It's gonna be difficult to execute, of course. And the Rift Herald here, not contested just yet. Pillar of Ice will come up. There's no support for Trick. Limit will arrive a little bit late. He's getting close to level 6. Able to use that Tempered Fate in a moment or two. And for the time being, Mad Lions feeling pretty comfortable. This Wukong was not necessarily held back. He's got access to that Cyclone.
Yeah.
And I really like the engage options from Mad Lions.
And I actually love Kaiser's build here, specifically up against the comp that SK have. He went for the very early lethality here with the serrated Dirk, so we'll see what he ends up, pivoting into if he just sits on that and then goes for a Black Cleaver, Trinity, something like that with his components here. But when you see 4 very squishy champions that aren't frankly going to be building armor, and you don't necessarily have the highest DPS team, he's going to be trying to carry a lot of the weight when he jumps into the back line, and the combination of him and a couple stray Sand Soldiers from Azir should be death for any of the players on SK.
It should be death for Jenax right now.
Well, yeah.
Very big tower dive. This is just going to be a matter of time. He's going to be able to flash away. Buys a lot of time, in fact. And the kill is secured there by Humanoid. Just being able to roam, get an advantage, and Jenax caught out.
Yeah, I mean, SK had a lot of blue side wards up there, but he was unable to escape from that tower. Now, at the same time, ZaZee's trading some plates in the mid lane, but those are going to be more than made up for with the Rift Herald going down here. So this, again, is going to be Mad Lions' idea. Group up with 4 or 5 people, start throwing your way over towards the opposition, and here you go, right underneath the tower. Jenax can't really go anywhere.
One of the things that I would love to find out from Mad Lions over the coming days is this pivot from the Wukong. Was it always intended to be a support, right? Because I saw it, and I actually asked the question in draft, like, blind solo lane is this early? That's bold. And once you see the draft then play out, like, maybe it was always intended to be a support. Maybe it's just a flex because they had that ability.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a flex option. Here's, whoa, Kai's going in.
That's the engage, going forward, the knock-up, the absolution, and the damage from the curse. That was so easy.
Well, there you go. That's some lethality Wukong for you. Early laning phase, he got through no problem, was not harassed all that much, and now it gets the kills. And this is something that will continue because Crownshot doesn't have a flash. He is going to be the target that Mad Lions try to bully for the next 5 minutes.
Oh, man. Mad Lions' 2 engages have been flawless. They've got themselves kills for Humanoid, for Carzzy. Kaiser already showing that the Wukong was not punished, was not held back in the laning phase. And now they've got an advantage, a 1,300 gold lead, and so many squishies to attack, so many squishies to deal with.
We're asking the wrong question. Will SK stay undefeated?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going to have to find out. I mean, it feels like Mad Lions have got a fantastic start to this game. So for SK's perspective, Limit is still fishing, still trying to support the team. Have we seen any movement in the lane? No lane swaps just yet. SK's perspective for the next few minutes, what do you want to see them do?
I mean, I'd love to see him go for a play, but Shadow is reading this like a book. He's here.
Tempered Fate will buy some time. Teleports are coming in, all 3 of them. That was a fantastic stun. Carzzy's going to be the first one to fall by ZaZee's hands. Kaiser is going to be able to get one back and actually Humanoid rather, they picked up the kill. 1 for 1, 3 TPs expended, and SK will be able to take some plates, but it looks like Mad Lions will pick the tower up.
Yeah, Orome's going to find that one. His TP was just a few seconds away from coming up here, and with both ADCs actually losing their flash in the last play, those were the targets, and it's an even trade in the bot side that Mad Lions still will win out on. And now that they actually have the teleport advantage with Orome, not just Orome though, but with Kaiser too, they can continue to try and force these fights. And if they can try to find deep wards in the enemy jungle, you can see them around that bottom side right there. They can look for these over and over again. So Shadow saw this play coming as SK walked through the river down here. He's going to find them inside the lane. And honestly, the Bard ult, kind of troll. Yes, it keeps them in place, but it buys some time now for that teleport to come through for Humanoid to trade that kill into Crownshot.
And of course, in terms of the little engage there, small tidbits for any EU Masters fans out there. ZaZee and Carzzy actually won the 2019 EU Masters. Limit is in so much trouble. We'll be able to take a magical journey. We'll buy some time, but should go down. And it'll be Orome that gets on the board. He actually also played with ZaZee and Carzzy, so some camaraderie here in their debuts to the professional scene.
And I couldn't tell right there on the blast cone if he was standing right in the middle of it, or the Trundle pillar was just insane. There's another good one.
Oh, ZaZee's going to flash instantly. If Orome had got vision of him, I think he could have done a twisted advance. Wasn't able to. And just in a blink of an eye here, Ender, 2,000 gold lead, tower advantage, defend bot, defend top, and it looks like the bot lane is under siege as well. So Mad Lions, before the 15-minute mark, are pulling ahead.
Yeah, so actually Humanoid in mid lane. Here we go again.
Yeah, slide, glide, divide. You should just play-by-play those in the future.
Yeah, sure, I got it.
When it's that clean and executed so fluidly, I don't know where I was going with that. I have no idea where I was going with that.
It's like, yes, Trevor, and then what? Finish the story, please. They all lived happily ever after, except for Crownshot, who's died 3 times since losing the Flash.
Where is he at the moment?
He's dead.
There we go, thank you.
Yes.
I was looking at the minimap, I was like, okay, Tempered Fate.
Remember when I said Mad Lions were going to target him after he lost his Flash? Well, they've done that and more.
And they're going to keep doing it. Kaiser's got his Flash and Cyclone available to him. SK is going to at least come for a little bit of a steal. Now, they do have at least one Drake in their back pocket, and they're set up for the mountain, but Mad Lions look like they'll be able to contest this, and their engage options are going to make it very difficult for SK.
Look at that teleport flank coming in from Kaiser. Remember, the TPs, they have the deep wards. They're looking for this fight.
They are indeed, and that's already an advantage. Jenax is blown up where he stands. Kaiser can still flank with that Cyclone, and he's just looking for the opportunity. Mad Lions get the kill. They get control of the pit, and they'll get themselves a Mountain Drake.
Wow, that was almost deadly right there from the Mad Lions, because I honestly think if SK didn't lose Jenax almost immediately, they stay in that fight a little bit longer, and the Kaiser flank was going to be insane. But you see the practice, you know, coming into play now for Mad Lions. They have the tools to force, and I am still very concerned that SK do not have the ability to keep Mad Lions away from them.
Whenever a kind of poke range type comp falls behind a engage style comp, it has never ended well in the history of League of Legends. So this is going to be very difficult for SK Gaming to come back from, despite the fact they're also in a massive gold deficit. And all kudos here to Mad Lions. I think they are showing a level of coordination and proactive play in the last few minutes. That has impressed me in comparison to the last 2 games.
Yeah, I think Mad Lions have done a very good job. Shadow's been very much focused on countering the moves that Trick made, especially around that bottom lane. But SK did trade the Rift Herald for the Mountain Drake that went down, so they're going to take the top lane tower. But in mid lane, that one getting very low as well. I think Mad Lions are going to be able to finish off on just one more push.
Chain of Corruption will hit the clone, but not be able to tag Carzzy or Kaiser. Crownshot is still a very squishy target. Every time I see Kaiser step forward, I just wonder if he's going to look for an engage. He's got so much damage already. And SK, they are just playing defensive tactics right now.
Yeah, SK are going to wait for a little while, because you actually see they went for a lot of scaling options. You have Rod of Ages up in the top lane for the Karma. You know, Corki is still trying to wait for the Man Immune to stack and the Trinity Force to be completed. And Crownshot, even though, hey, you know, his items look good, or I guess he has a full item done just yet, he is down 3 deaths. So he is not going to be delivering the same amount of punch that he wanted to. And one good news piece, I guess, that you could give to SK is that in the very, very late game, having damage dealers is better than having tanks, because if you think about the itemization that damage dealers can go for, every single class has like a huge multiplier item, whether AD carries can go for an Infinity Edge, albeit not in this game with the Varus, you're not going to be going for that route, but the Corki certainly can do the same. Rabadon's Death Cap on mages can give you much better scaling, and tanks don't really have that great option that says, hey, all these tank stats that I spent the first 25 minutes of the game building, now they're like twice as good.
And the question about that time frame, it's obviously tied to itemization. Jenax is going to be able to flash away from the Emperor's Divide. But what are you talking? Is that 4, 5 items before you really see that value?
Yes, and I still don't necessarily know if SK's comp can hold up against Mad Lions, because this game, like, well, yes, itemization is going to be important. At the end of the day, it's whether or not SK can play fight slowly enough, and that means you need control on the map. You need to see vision to make sure that Kaiser can't find the TP flank or Orome can't find the TP flank, and Mad Lions have so many wonderful engage options, whether it is through the teleport or even just popping up a pillar. They can find you from very far away.
And they are playing with intent. I mean, that Emperor's Divide over the wall from Humanoid, multiple tower dives have taken place already. They're willing to use those objectives to press their advantage. Trick right now, maybe the one being caught up. Pillar of Ice comes up. Kaiser hasn't engaged just yet. Trick continues to step back. Chain of Corruption has been fired out. It's Trick that gets the damage. The shield, the true damage is out. Carzzy runs for his life. Tempered Fate buys some time, and Limit can't find the kill just yet. Finally, Crownshot with a piercing arrow will pick up the second kill for SK.
Yeah, okay, that was a good move right there from SK. They saw Orome stranded topside, or Humanoid down in the bottom lane, so they say, let's force here, even though Trick got taken down very, very low. Limit played that fight exceptionally, getting the Bard ultimate to lock down Carzzy, and then followed it up with the Cosmic Binding as well, but Crownshot has to flash, finds himself out of position, and the same story is going to repeat itself, Trevor. He's in trouble.
He absolutely is, and I mean, Cyclone wasn't even available for Kaiser there, just the fear of the damage. So this is how everything started out, and it does end with Crownshot picking up the kill.
So it is a little suspect from Mad Lions. You know, they see that they get the pillar down on Trick, like, we can put down some damage. They do not expect that turnaround, and Carzzy completely caught off guard. This is where Limit comes in, drops the ultimate. ZaZee's like, wait a second, maybe I could have got him, but it's a great Q right there, finding Carzzy up against the wall to get the kill.
Theorize for me how you'd like to see Tempered Fate used, because this is 2 or 3 instances of the spell where it almost feels like it helps.
No, that one was really good. I think the play before was primarily because the one in the bot lane, right? It was like 10 minutes ago. Carzzy didn't have a flash, and he had teammates teleporting in. So yes, it locked him in place, but it gave, you know, 2 seconds for his teammates to actually enter into the fight. But really, Limit has a couple of options here. Either it is used for picks, which means, you know, your whole team's trying to run some individual players down, or you can use it to stall out within a team fight or force Mad Lions to take a step back. It's all about, again, buying space for your backline or stopping a TP. That's also good.
I mean, this is the pick example that you've just described. Humanoid's going to be able to buy a lot of time. The slide and glide Emperor's Divide will get thrown out, and eventually ZaZee lands the final blow, but
Crownshot isn't here. He does have teleport, though. Mad Lions are trying to run it down.
All right, Shadow's trying to find a target. The Pillar of Ice will buy some time. Teleport coming in from behind SK Gaming. Jenax is caught behind that pillar. That was fantastically placed by Shadow, pinning him against the wall. The Cyclone goes up, and the Showstopper actually throws Kaiser deeper into SK territory. All of a sudden, Carzzy comes to clean up. So far, it's a 1-for-2 in favor of Mad Lions. They get themselves further roots. Another great pillar. Trick is in trouble. It's a triple kill for Carzzy, and they may be able to put some damage on this tower as well.
Wow, Shadow's pillars have been so on point in this game, especially at picking out Limit right there. Very good job. First down in the bot lane just to slow things down, then to try and stop Limit from taking that portal for just a second. Shadow and the rest of Mad Lions just saw SK go for that plane. Because Humanoid stalled so much time, it allowed them to get down there and pick up the kills.
I mean, I want to take a look at the replay if it comes up. Did Shadow pin both Jenax and Limits, like, out of their movement options? I felt like Jenax was pinned against the wall, so I'll watch it when we get there. And Humanoid...
So he knew people were coming. I don't think he knew they were right there. Otherwise, he would have not ended up using that. And the flash does look a little crazy, but he's like, hey, I can buy time. He gets pulled back by the Sett right there, which ends up cutting his life short. But then, yeah, let's keep an eye on the Shadow pillars, because at first he's like, I don't think he knows the Bard pillar is there. He's like, no, ZaZee, we're going to slow you down. And it stops Jenax from going through. That's brutal.
That is so dirty. So well set up by Shadow, and Mad Lions are not done yet. They managed to get themselves another kill on Crownshot. Every time he's flashless, he is just getting dunked on by all of the engaged tools. Mad Lions, 10 kills to 4, 2 dragons to 1, and about a 3,000 gold lead right now. Honestly, they can focus any objective they want. As long as they've got their ultimates, like, they've got all the tools they need to force objectives.
Oh, Kaiser looks for a play, but ZaZee able to dodge through that one. I mean, honestly, Mad Lions are basically justifying them leaving Varus open in the game opener, right? Yeah. Where they got absolutely destroyed by it. They said, actually, we have a really good answer. We just need to draft super, super hard engage. And the Wukong that got through this laning phase pretty much untouched now is at a point where he does so much damage. He's actually out-leveling Crownshot down there in the bottom lane, because he just goes into a side lane by himself now. That's totally fine. Carzzy can group up with the rest of the team. And he's got a Trinity Force.
I can't believe it's working. I actually didn't think it was going to happen. It ends up doing it. Humanoid will once again set up another kill onto Trick, and now it's starting to feel a little bit dirty. Mad Lions will start off the Baron here. There's no jungle intervention. Now, there is a lot of poke, to be fair, but it's 4 versus 5. Mad have the ability to turn if they want to. Orome's going to just wait in the wings. He's got that ultimate available to him. And Limit is going to throw out the magical journey. I don't think SK can get close enough.
I don't know what they're going to do here when they don't have a smite to get in the pit. The Bardo will stall it out for the time being here. But if they find the corridor, Humanoid's going to destroy them. Whoa!
That's a lot of damage onto Humanoid. We talked about the range. You can see how the SK comp is supposed to be played. But Baron has been secured by Humanoid. And the rest of the Mad Lions are killing SK. Jenax running for his life. Orome manages to get the smash down. It's Kaiser that gets the kill. And Limit and Crownshot are able to escape thanks to the magical journey. journey. So frankly, getting out with only 1 kill, I'm impressed SK made it out, but they didn't stop the Baron, they didn't get the kills, and they aren't in the game just yet.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like it's too little too late now for SK with how Mad Lions have been able to pick them off so consistently. At the start here, gonna watch what happens, because Limit and Trick were in the river. They know Trick's there. Trick's, his sweeper, I don't think saw the Mad Lions ward until too late. And just gets dropped back there by the Azir wall. And now what do SK do? Like, you can't fight because your items are just worse. You don't have a jungler, so a steal attempt isn't really possible. It's just unfortunate.
I really like how Mad Lions have played this game. From pivots in draft to decisions in-game, it feels like they've been one step ahead of SK all day long. We've had a fair amount of praise from other pros around the strength of SK as well. But unfortunately, this weird and wonderful composition hasn't quite worked out today.
No. I mean, the one weird and wonderful bot lane has worked wonderfully. So I'm going to be very, very excited for that one, to see it coming as Orome comes into the back line here.
Trick is going to go golden thanks to the stopwatch, and it's just a matter of time. Kaiser throws out the Cyclone, and while Trick will manage to just dunk down one, it's not enough. It is at the cost of Humanoid's life, but the rest of Mad Lions with the Baron buff down in the bottom lane, they are waiting for some minions to usher in. They're going to now try to defend. I mean, SK just pushing out mid. They've got a big hole to climb their way out of. And I don't think it's plausible.
It's now a bad time to bring up the Humanoid dies in side lane. His team's just like rolling over SK, and the volley's like, wait a second, what's happening here? Well, in the meantime, Mad Lions still going down bot side as Orome interrupts the recalls of 2 or 3 players. I can't even tell up there. I think it's just 2 for SK, and that's going to be tower falling and surely the inhibitor as well.
Yeah, definitely the case. Limiting Crownshot, unable to get back. Mad Lions have broken open the base. They didn't actually stick around for the inhibitor, by the way. They have backed out. And this is how we're going to see Humanoid. It's not a side lane, it's a mid lane.
It's like a mid lane, but he gets ganked on the side. Yeah, you know, respect. The Bard Portal doesn't see that one coming. Limit does play that one quite well.
Rolls natural 20 for the Mad Lions, and Humanoid still dies in the mid lane. I think that was the line from our D&D session.
I don't know.
You don't remember? You were wearing the lion outfit. You should remember that.
I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. It was just hot.
Okay, so let's talk some overreactions now. SK, they go 2-0, and they've been summarily, you know, stomped on by Mad Lions. Mad Lions definitely the most impressive game of the weekend thus far. They're set up for the Dragon.
Uh-oh, they're all dead.
I'll give you some time to think about this.
TP.
What does this mean after week 1 for these teams? Kaiser's going to go in, get the Cyclone, get a multi-man knockup. Look at all of the AoE damage. Kaiser's still alive for now as the Orome ultimate is going to rattle across and locks them down. Carzzy gets another. 2 members of SK are down. Mad Lions pick up the Dragon as well, and they continue to chase. Now Orome's going to look for crown shots. Gets delivered with the blast cone and manages to land yet another kill. Humanoid's flying over the wall, waiting for those cooldowns. He's looking for Jenax, sends the Sand Soldier. Not enough just yet. The AP for Jenax works out, and Mad Lions looking to set up the final push.
Trevor, when do we add jetpacks to League of Legends? All these players are just flying across the screen. It does not end here for the Mad Lions. Sad Bees as the emotes and looking to close this one out.
Mad Lions with a dominant victory over SK Gaming. The Wukong Senna bottom lane worked out fantastically, and Shadow's Trundle was impeccable. Mad Lions will finish week 1 going 2-1, taking down SK. And now you'll get a chance to answer the question that I posed. We've seen 3 games apiece. Mad Lions have the most impressive game on day 3. And SK, it's a weird draft. It was slightly strange.
Right.
You know, what are our takeaways?
I mean, it's so strange, right? Because they beat an Origin that was clearly not playing at their peak level, but you still have to give SK credit for the way they closed that one out. Then you go up against a Schalke that's clearly one of our weaker teams. Then in this game, it's hard to hold the gameplay against them because, I mean, Trick was playing his heart out in that game, but compositionally, they just got jumped on and couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot to talk about. Your nominations for Kia Player of the Game at LEC on Twitter. Shadow, Carzzy, and Kaiser. Mad Lions, they finish the week 2-1, as do SK Gaming. Interesting game, interesting picks. Hopefully we'll see more of those. And after the break, we'll learn more about that Wukong support and why it worked so well.